car hit one other vehicle, been going into oncoming traffic at times, running through red lights. So certainly a danger to the public at this point in time. This is a speed at which the police may try and do the pit maneuver. They slam up to the back of the vehicle and get it to swerve or spin out. They have enough resources behind to try that, and the speed has slowed. At one point in time, we saw speeds on the surface street up to close to 60 miles an hour. At this point in time, they have slowed quite a bit. But LAPD officers would love to get this suspect in custody and off of these roadways here in the Wilmington area. We've seen pedestrians out on the street. We've seen close calls with several vehicles, and we've seen the car clip another vehicle in an intersection. It wasn't hit hard, fortunately, so we don't believe that anyone was hurt, but the suspect is looking more than just failure to yield and being involved in a pursuit. He's also going to be looking at hit-and-run charges after hitting that vehicle and then not stopping. Speed has slowed somewhat. We saw the suspect. There we go. We may see a pit maneuver right here, and it looks like if they come up upon him now, they may try it. They need some speed. The vehicle needs to be traveling at least 10 miles an hour, 5 to 10 at a minimum, or else it won't. Go ahead, Jay. All right, very good. Thank you. Understand that Philip Palmer may be with us in a moment. But we almost had a pit maneuver there a moment ago. The suspect driving at a rate of speed in which they can do that and perform it without an issue. It doesn't look like some instances. You see into oncoming traffic here, going through a red light. In some instances, they wouldn't want to do the pit maneuver if there's other vehicles that vehicle could spin out and run into and hurt someone. But if they get on a street where he slows enough and makes a turn here, it wouldn't surprise me. That may be a spot where they try the pit maneuver. But it's obvious from the position of the vehicles that they're considering at this point in time. If the suspect continues, and there you see him stopping for a moment, we've seen this type of behavior several times. The vehicle will stop, wave at the officers, even turn around and come straight back towards the patrol cars, and then just take off. So certainly a lot of indecision on the part of the suspect. Again, we don't know exactly what he's wanted for. And Philip, I understand you're with me now. We've been following this pursuit for probably about 15 minutes or so, and it's been sketchy at times, traveling into oncoming traffic, hitting a vehicle, and then even driving his patrol car right at the police cars. Well, before we got on with you, before you saw this, we had some pretty high speeds, up to 60 miles an hour on some of these surface streets. But certainly since you came on, he has been driving at a fairly slow pace. But we've seen some really erratic driving on behalf of the driver, just sort of going back and forth in his own lane, a lot of indecision, and at one point even turning around with 4 or 5 patrol cars right behind him and then coming right at the patrol cars. And we know how dangerous that can be for the suspect. If the officers perceive that their life is in danger, they could actually open fire. But I think we may see a pit maneuver here if he continues to drive at these speeds and these surface streets here in the Wilmington area. No, it really doesn't. Erratic is the right word for it, and then you start to wonder if drugs or alcohol are involved, even mental health issues. It's just hard to say at this point, but certainly it's a danger to the community. We're on Gulf Avenue here in the Wilmington area, and there's a lot of pedestrians out. We've seen them go into oncoming traffic. As you mentioned, extremely erratic, speeding up, slowing down, waving at officers. You see the hand motion there inside the vehicle, almost as if the suspect's waving at us. He didn't see us, but he would see the LAPD helicopter well below us. But certainly now we see high speeds, and we know how dangerous this can be. Into oncoming traffic. They're in the opposite lane when he doesn't have to be. And that's what's really frightening at this point in time, when you see a suspect that's driving in a lane into oncoming traffic and not to actually get away from anybody. And then that looked like that was a close call there. So a real danger to the public here. Yep. Yeah. That's certainly possible. And, following these pursuits, these are the types that in a lot of cases just don't end well. You certainly hope that they will, but when you see them speed up like this for no apparent reason, I mean, look at that, into oncoming traffic, and there's no reason to do that. The lane was open in front of them, now going through a red light, turning onto another street. Even pull out for me for a moment. I want to see how far the patrol cars are. At some point, if he drives erratically enough, they'll back off. They've got him from the air. But now we're down an alleyway, and, school's not in session yet in this area. Kids could be out in the alley. They could be riding their bike. They could be playing ball. It's certainly extremely dangerous for the public. We only hope they can get this suspect into custody pretty quickly here. They do have the resources to do that. And the longer he goes around in circles and stays in the same area, the more resources they will have. Yeah, maybe put out a spike strip. It's hard to say exactly how they'll handle it. If they can get up behind him and he drives slower, I think we'll see that pit maneuver. But in the situations like this, that driver didn't even see him and back in the same alleyway that he was on just a moment ago. All over the place. Yeah, there hasn't been a pattern that we could really follow. He went down that same alley. We've seen him do that before. Saw him slow way down. 4 or 5 patrol cars right behind him. Looked like he was going to turn over into a parking lot and then sped around real quick and right at the officers, almost into a head-on collision type situation. They backed off, but we know how dangerous that can be if the officers do perceive that he's putting their lives in danger. And look at that. I mean, there's into oncoming traffic. This just does not have the feel that it's going to end well. It really doesn't, because you've got a suspect who's desperate, erratic, driving in areas it doesn't look like he is familiar with. And there are a lot of people out on the roadways in this area now on West G Street here in Wilmington. So we hope it ends well. We hope he just gives himself up. But certainly it's a real threat to this area. So if you live in the Wilmington area, we've been on Wilmington, we've been on PCH, we're on Lagoon Avenue right now. This entire area, this individual right here is really a threat, I would say, to the community. If you're out on the streets, you got your kids outside playing, I would bring them in. It certainly could be a danger. For no reason. No. Yeah. Yeah, and he stayed in this one area now going around in circles, and that's why you see patrol cars coming at him, but they're not going to get in his way. They're not going to stop him and have a head-on collision, that's for certain. But the more we watch this, it does appear that, drugs or alcohol is involved here. You see the hand out the window. You see into oncoming traffic for no reason. You see extremely wide turns. You see acceleration. It wouldn't surprise me if you lose control of this vehicle at some point in time if this continues. So we just hope this ends soon. Yeah, and we're back into the same area. We've gone around in a circle now, but that's exact same turn he made a moment ago in this exact same intersection, like diverting to the right to make a left turn and then changed his mind. So we have a lot of resources. We have a helicopter overhead. They're trying to see if they can't get this situation to end without incident. We certainly hope that is the case, but boy, they are so dangerous. We know that from what we've seen in the past. Yeah. It's frightening. All right, Philip. No, we went into Torrance for a time on PCH and then went southbound on Vermont and then sort of veered back into this area. Marcel, could you repeat what you just told me a moment ago? Yeah, they're asking for spike strips. So he stayed in this one area long enough now. Marcel's my cameraman. He helps me out so much, and he can hear the scanner. I can't really hear that and listen and talk with you at the same time. And so because he stayed in this one area, they get more resources in here, and they could throw out a spike strip. So if he comes down one of those streets where they've set up, they will do that. And that certainly would help. That'll really slow the vehicle. It'll stop the vehicle's ability to speed up, and they may be able to get this over with. But we are certainly going around in circles in the same area, and that will help them, Philip, as far as deploying the spike strip and trying to get those tires flat. Oh, they might have had one there.
They were just getting it out.
Just missed it. They were just getting ready to throw it out, Philip, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. As I mentioned, I think they'll get a spike strip out on this suspect as long as he stays in this area. He stayed in this one little area, double backing several times, and if he continues to do that, they'll get the spike strip out. But now, unfortunately, he's heading away from the area he was at before, and I don't think they have. Oh, they did get it. See there, the left tire is flat. Both sides. Yep, they did get it. Is the right front flat as well? It's hard to tell. No, I don't think so. Oh, onto a sidewalk. All right. Very good. Open up for me a bit. Is there another vehicle? Any patrol cars down? Go west. He's right here. Look at, stop right here. He's going south now. Piece of the vehicle fell off. Absolutely not. Into oncoming traffic, swerving into vehicles he's coming head on with. Now, both of the tires on the left side of that vehicle are flat from the spike strip, pulling into a gas station here, and there are a lot of officers in the area. Going to have a very difficult time maneuvering that vehicle down this same alleyway once again. Once those tires go down to the rim, you see, I almost lost control. I think we're going to see a foot bail here. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets out and runs on foot. There's a lot of officers in the area, so he's not going to get far. But the good news is, Philip, we're really concerned that someone would have been hurt. They would have ran into another vehicle. The threat of that is over. We can't tell if the suspect is armed, but it looks like he's just running. It doesn't appear to be anything in his, well, reportedly armed and dangerous, but we don't see him reaching for anything in this situation. And officers will have him in custody here in a minute. Wilmington and Anaheim is basically where this started by Port Police. They got a helicopter overhead. Don't know exactly what the suspect is wanted for, but you see now he knows he's caught. He's given himself up. They'll tackle him, get him to the ground, and get him in custody. So, yeah, the pursuit is over. We did have that vehicle clip another car, but we don't think there were any injuries, so that is good news. Certainly, though, we saw the ability here or the possibility that somebody could have been hurt or even killed by the way and the erratic manner in which that suspect was driving. Yeah. Absolutely. We're fortunate that nobody got hurt. It was obvious the suspect, didn't really have complete control of that vehicle or complete control of his senses. He was really erratic. He had no willingness to give himself up until the last moment when it was inevitable. And, that's what we're seeing. We're at the corner of Anaheim and Wilmington. In the Wilmington area, the suspect is in custody. And as I mentioned, one vehicle was clipped, but fortunately, we don't think anybody's been injured in this pursuit. I want you to push in, I believe. Will do. Okay, thank you.
Did anybody else make it? Mike? What? Anybody else make it? 11 shuffled already. Yeah. I thought we had it pretty exclusive.
Yeah, good job, Marcel.
Nobody listens to Port Police, so.
All right, let me know how much of this you think you need before we're clear from here. In fact, I got to sit him on the curb. He said he's having trouble breathing, I guess. You're probably hearing that as well, calling for an RA. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Let's just wait and see where the RA parks.
Yeah, that's good.
Where we want to see the back end of it, wherever it pulls up.
We're a little steep, though, now.
I thought he was going to crash for sure.
Looks like they're not going to wait for the RA.
They're saying something about get him in the car because of the crowd forming there.
Anything going on with the crowd over there, where that guy's waving to them? Is there any perceived threat there? Everybody's got their camera out.
Everybody's live on the scene.
When we go back, we'll go over LAX again so we can shoot more of the people mover.
PRA beat them because of the crowd.
Made sense to me at that